The Lolo Body Bar by Barmaids is an addictive and oh so decadent head-to-toe moisturizer made with all natural skin-loving butters and oils. This amazing bar is most definitely one item that belongs in every fiber artist's stash. Working with yarns and fibers can be so rewarding even while it steals your moisture and leaves you raw. Lolo by Barmaids is luxurious, creamy, smooth, and so good for your skin. It's easy to use, and there's never any leftover residue that could destroy your latest masterpiece. Protect and soothe your capable, beautiful, creative hands. Trust me, just try the Lolo Bar. The results speak for themselves.
Hi, my name is Tina and welcome to Knitting Blooms. Today is Saturday, February 11th, and this is episode number 42. How have y'all been this week? I have had another crazy week. I don't know what it is. I don't usually have, first of all, I don't have busy weeks, and secondly, usually I have a pretty smooth flowing week. And this week was crazy. Last weekend was busy, and then Monday was just a total technology fail. So anyway, Saturday, after I recorded, I went for my spinning class at the Spinning Loft in Howell, Michigan. And I learned a whole lot. I knew how to do most of the different drafting methods, but I never really took the time to play with them and practice them and try them with different wools. And it was really nice just to be able to have a 3-hour block of time. I think we used, 5 or 6 different types of wool, from like a merino to Polworth, I think a tuss of silk, straight tuss of silk, and even a down, which I have never used and probably won't ever use again. But it was quite interesting to be able to use all those different fibers and try different drafting methods and not feel like I'm wasting fiber, because that's kind of how I feel if I'm just playing around. I mean, I have fiber that I could just try different drafting methods, but I kind of feel like I need to make it into something. So I have a hard time just spinning fiber and not an end game in mind. Not trying to be consistent or trying to get a specific type of thing. But I had a lot of fun with that, and I'm so glad that I did that. And then on Sunday, I had forgotten that it was Knitting Bowl. One of my friends, every year for the Super Bowl, has the girls over and we knit. So Sunday was busy again because I went off to Knitting Bowl for a few hours on Sunday. So usually my weekends are not busy at all, which this weekend is very quiet and very relaxing, and I've been watching movies all morning, and I plan to do the same the rest of the afternoon. Anyway, back to Knitting Bowl. So, yeah, I went to Knitting Bowl on Sunday, and that was great. I got to see some of the ladies that I usually don't get to see except for at Knitting Bowl. And it was nice. We had a nice day, and it was nice just to relax and knit for a bit. And then Monday, I had a major technology fail. Major. First, iTunes crashed on me. I keep my iTunes library on an external drive. And when I have it connected, if I'm playing iTunes, or even when it's not playing iTunes, if you move the USB a little bit, sometimes the connectors get off and it disconnects the drive. Well, Monday I was watching, I think it was Round the Twist. No, it couldn't have been Round the Twist. I think it might have been, no, because I think she was off last week. I don't know, whatever it was. I was watching an episode, and right in the middle of watching, I accidentally moved the computer slightly, and that connection just went off the slightest bit, and boom, it closed down iTunes. It said it couldn't find the library. Well, that's happened before, and it hasn't been a huge deal. However, because I was actually playing a podcast at the time, it corrupted the library. And I proceeded to call Apple because I have Apple Care, and the person that I got did not seem like he really knew what he was talking about. And every time he said, let's do this, and I'd be like, why are we doing that? And he'd be like, oh, well, hang on just a second, let me look at something else. And then he's like, okay, don't do that, do this. And then I would wait for a second, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound right either. Why are we doing that? And then he would change his mind again. This happened like 3 or 4 times. And I really was at the point where I was like, you know what? I need to talk to somebody else. But I didn't. I just kept going on with him. And then he said something that seemed reasonable. So I did what he told me to do. And it made a mess of my iTunes library. It was crazy. So that was a mess. That was so frustrating. And at the same time, I was also trying to update my new Kindle Touch, which I had purchased the week before. And I had downloaded like 700 books and was trying to get them into the categories and was not having much luck on finding an easy way to do it. And that was giving me a lot of headache. I was getting, the Kindle was crashing, and just lag time was just incredibly long. So between the two of them, I was spent. I was done with technology. I came home, I worked out, I felt better, and then I started in on the technology again. Ended up, the iTunes library was a total mess, and no matter what I did, it wasn't getting back to where it was supposed to be. So I ended up restoring from a backup from January 26th or something like that. Thank God I had a backup. I did end up having to download a bunch of podcasts again. I think I ended up having to download like 50 some podcasts because everything from the past week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever was gone. A lot of which I had already watched, but they had to I had to resync it and then delete the ones that I didn't need to download. So that was a long, long process. And the Kindle was still a mess. Talked to Kindle Support, and they were telling me crazy, ridiculous things. I did finally decide that the Kindle, when I talked to Kindle Support, she's like, yeah, it shouldn't be doing that. And because it was giving me some weird message, like could not start the application when I tried to push the home button. It was crazy. And this all happened after I tried to download these books. And one lady says, oh, well, you shouldn't have downloaded 700 books at one time. And I'm like, why didn't somebody tell me this before? Anyway, needless to say, Wednesday came and the Kindle was still frustrating me like crazy. I finally decided I'm done. I'm going to exchange it. This was the one time that I was glad that I had purchased my Kindle locally, because I could just go to the store, give them that Kindle back, and get another Kindle. Whereas if I had ordered it from Amazon, I would have had to ship it back, wait for them to get it, have them ship it again, and I would have been frustrated. Because I had already given my Kindle 3 to my husband, who is now in love with reading on the Kindle. He kept saying, because I've always asked him since I've had my Kindle if he wanted a Kindle. And he's like, no, he didn't really read that much, and then he's just started reading the Stephanie Plum books, and he's really into them, and he reads them, and he's been reading them on his iPhone since he got his iPhone. But he didn't want a Kindle because he didn't want to have to carry it around. Well, since I've given him the Kindle, that's all he's read on. He's taken it with him to work, even in my pink case that I had. Obviously, he wants to read on the Kindle more because he's taking my pink case to work with him, and he's like, I don't care, you know. So I did finally order him a black case. It came today. However, I don't like it, so I'm sending that one back, and I'm going to get a different one because it has kind of a fabric cover, whereas the one that I have has a leather outside cover. They're both M-Edge, which I love the M-Edge covers for the Kindle. And they have covers for all different reading devices. But I really love them. I've had a Kindle 2, a Kindle 3, and now the Kindle Touch. And I've had M-Edge covers for all of them. And if you have a Kindle and you don't have an M-Edge cover, try it. I think you'll like them. So I am going to send that one back because it's got the fabric cover. It is an M-Edge, but it's not leather. It was a little bit cheaper, but I don't like it as much. So I'm going to send it back and get the one with the leather cover, which is, I think, $20 more. So, yeah. So since Wednesday, technology has been nicer to me, which I kind of deserve it because Monday was just horrible, horrible, horrible. And since I've gotten the new Kindle, I didn't download 700 books at one time. I've been downloading 10 or 15, sometimes up to 20 books at one time, and then letting it do its indexing. And I always double check to make sure that all the books have been indexed before I download any more. So I don't know if this downloading of 700 books at one time really taxed the Kindle and made it have a hiccup or what exactly. But I'm just glad that this one's working. So now that we're I don't know, 11 minutes in, that's not too bad. Let's talk about the things that we have going on this week. I just want to mention again that Finish It or Frog It February is going on right now. Finish your project or frog it by the end of February and enter it into the thread for a chance to win a prize. The Knit Your Stash challenge for February is also still going on. So if you are knitting, if you're finishing a project, you get to count the yardage for Knit Your Stash as well. The Finish It or Frog It, it has to be finished before the end of the month. I'm finding that my lofty goals of finishing 4 old projects are just that, lofty. Because we're already just about 2 weeks into the month. And I'm close to finishing one project, but the other ones, I have barely... One of them I've worked on quite a bit, but nowhere near close to done. And the other 2 haven't even touched this week. So, not likely that I'm going to finish all 4 of them, but we'll see what happens. Also, the thread is up for the March Madness. Did I talk about March Madness last week? I don't remember. Yeah, I think I did. Let me look at my notes. Yes, I did talk about March Madness. March Madness is where you will knit a project from a yarn that I choose from your stash. You have until basically February 15th. I'm going to say February 19th to sign up and have your stash up because I'm going to start, if you've already posted to the thread, I'm going to start choosing yarns on February 15th for those that posted early in the challenge. So hopefully, or posted early in the thread. So hopefully those people have their stashes up to date. A lot of people have already notified me that stashes have been up to date and I can start picking their fiber or picking their yarn. I have already started to do that. I do want to get everybody picked, all the yarns picked by the 19th, so that gives you a good week to get your ideas in order and determine what project you're going to do. So you have until the 19th, let's say the 18th of February to sign up, and then I will choose your yarn by the next day, because it doesn't take me that long once I sit down and just start going through the stash. So that is going on for March. I did go ahead and do the drawing for the person who gets to pick my yarn for March Madness. And I did the drawings, all the drawings that needed to be done this week. I already did them because I found that I did a separate episode for drawings last week, and it was like 23 minutes. That's like 5 minutes per drawing. So that's a lot of time. So I just did them. It took me like 3 minutes to do all the drawings, write down the numbers. I mean, it was quick, you know, because I wasn't worried about checking anything out or whatever. So as we get to them, I will announce the winners of those prizes. And I didn't cheat, I swear. I just put the numbers in, let the generator do its thing, and that's who won. So the person who gets to choose my yarn for the March Madness Challenge is number 34. Oh, and by the way, there was 39 people that have joined so far. So number 34, Stealth Dragon, you get to choose my yarn for me. So go into my thread. I do have a couple of things that I really need to post. I think I have 2 yarns. Oh, oops. I have some more stash enhancement to show you later. So I have a couple of things that have not been put into my stash, but if you want to go ahead and choose now, I'm okay with that. There's just a couple of things of sock yarn that I've recently got. I do want to try and keep the project between 400 and 500 yards. So Stealth Dragon, if you want to go and pick the yarn now, or you can wait and just send me a PM or post in the chatter thread of which yarn you would like me to use. I will also get in contact with you and let you know that you are the person to pick, and if you so choose not to pick for whatever reason, I will draw again. But you were the winner of that opportunity, I guess. So there you go. So that's March Madness. That's coming up in March. There's one more thing that I want to tell you about before I start talking about my knitting. Back at the beginning of January, I mentioned that I wanted to get an iPad. And I've thought about it, and I want to get one. But I decided that I wanted to wait until the iPad 3 was released, which could possibly be in the next couple of months. So that's one of the reasons why I decided not to get an iPad now, because I hate to get some new technology and find out that in 2 months the new generation is coming out. So I'm postponing that for a little bit. I'm hoping that that the iPad 3 is announced in the next couple of months, and hopefully by the end of March or April it will be released and I will get it. But until then, I decided to spend my money on something else. And here is what I got. Yep, I got a new wheel. I got a sidekick. When I went to the spinning class last week, I kind of already had it in my head that I was going to sit down to a sidekick and decide that day if I was going to take one home with me. Because I just heard a weird sound. Anyway, because the spinning loft, although for me or yeah, I guess for me, is close compared to a lot of people in the country. I'm about 45 minutes to an hour away from there. However, I drive 3 miles to work, and everything that I could ever want is within probably a 5-mile radius. So for me to go to Howell, which is 45 minutes to an hour away, that's like the other side of the world to me. And I knew that if I decided that I wanted to get the Sidekick before Knitopia, I probably wouldn't want to go out there again between now and April. So I did, before the class started, I tried to get there a little bit early, and after recording and trying to get files somewhat situated before I got out the door, I didn't leave right when I expected to leave. And it took me about the same amount of time that I expected it to take me to get there, but I left probably about 20 to 30 minutes later than I really wanted to leave. So I would have had a whole hour to play with the wheel before the class, but I only had about a half hour. But that's all I needed. That's all I needed. I sat down to it, and just like the ladybug, I just immediately started spinning on it and loving how the wheel worked. And at the end of class, everybody made their purchases, and I stayed after and purchased the Sidekick. So I'm very excited about that. It was a huge purchase, but I've been thinking about it for a while and seeing everybody who's getting the Sidekick and loving it, and it's the sister wheel to the ladybug. It was really the perfect fit for me because I can use my woolly winder on it. However, I might have to get a second woolly winder because I don't want to keep moving it. Not that it's not difficult, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I've been using my ladybug today. I've been spinning a little bit this morning and last night, and because I was working on the one fiber from Blue Moon Fiber Arts on that wheel, and I will probably start another fiber on the Sidekick, but I wanted to keep that fiber on the ladybug. I think it's best to spin the fiber all the way through on the same wheel. Anyway, so yeah, I got a new wheel, and I'm real excited about it. So now we're like 20 minutes in. And let's talk about, I've got crazy glue on my finger. I was finally fixing my Knit Picks cables that I think it was about a month or so ago that I showed you how the cable came out of the Knit Picks, you know how the cable sometimes will come out of the metal piece. Well, I finally got some crazy glue and was able to fix them. Hopefully that'll hold. Anyway, so now I've got it on my finger because I used a little bit too much and almost had my fingers sticking together. So, I have a finished object this week, and actually, it was a finished object last week, but I didn't even know it. You're saying, how did you not know? Well, let me show you what it is first. It's 2 dishcloths. And the reason I didn't know it was because when I was working on these, it was when we were doing all those interviews for the insulation people. And as soon as I finished one, I would just, it was all, the yarn was in my bag, and I would just toss the finished dishcloth aside and immediately cast on for the next one and go. And then I would toss the finished dishcloth in the bag. Well, last Saturday, after I recorded, I was working on that dishcloth for a couple of minutes, and I got to an end. And I was only a tiny bit into it. And I'm like, this is weird. I said, maybe I cut the yarn somehow, or maybe there was a break in the skein. I thought it was odd. But then I looked in the bag and I'm like, oh, I'm out of yarn. So I must have finished one and cast on and not realized that I had already had two done from that skein. So I have started my Frankenskein dishcloth, which hasn't gotten any work this week other than the tiny bit that I did. But I have two more dishcloths I have to weave in the ends, obviously. But love them. Love these dishcloths. Love them. I think I'm up to like 10 now. But that's still not enough. And I keep seeing everybody posting the Burnett cotton. And I so want to buy some. But even though I have broken my yarn diet, I still have, I think, 3 more skeins of cotton, of the sugars and cream, that I really should knit up first before I buy any more. So if I knit, so that would be 6 more dishcloths, plus maybe 1 more Frankenskein dishcloth. And so what I'm thinking in my mind is that if I knit all of those balls up, then I will allow myself to buy 1 of the Burnett skeins to make more dishcloths, because I don't think I can have enough. Nope. And I think I'm going to start making them more for gifts, because I think they're great gifts, along with some soap. I gave dishcloths or washcloths or whatever you want to call them, and some Wolf Farms soap and lotion to my mother-in-law for Christmas. And it's a great little gift. And I think I'm just gonna do some more of those up for just miscellaneous things if I'm going to somebody's house and I need a hostess gift or something like that. It's just a grab and go kind of thing. So, finished object. Yay. Oh. Okay, when I pause, I'm going to, or when I cut the recording at about 30 minutes, I have to go get something else because I forgot something. But before that, let me talk about one of my projects that I've been working on this week. Oh, I forgot 2 projects. I guess I'll have to grab it. Okay, so I've been working on my More Basic Socks, and I finished one. I think I finished this last week. This one was done last week. Pretty sure. Yeah. I still had my marker in there from last week. But this one is done. This one was done last week. I didn't work on this one this week. However, I did work on this one, which is nearly done, and will probably be done today, if I can break myself away from the spinning wheel. Because I only have a half a stripe. I have to finish up this pink stripe, which is that big, and then do my ribbing. So I have about that much more to go. So not very much. And last week I was here, which was actually just before the heel. So I did the heel and then I knit up to that point. I still love these socks. Again, the yarn isn't the greatest to knit with, but boy, I think the socks are going to be great. I can't wait to finish them because I think I want to wear them this week. In fact, I might wear them today because it is cold outside today. That's why I'm planning on staying inside today. I think the high is supposed to be like 23 degrees or something like that. So spinning and knitting under a cuddly blanket on the couch while watching movies and podcasts is the theme of the day. And lots of coffee or tea or hot chocolate to keep me warm. So, there you go. I don't know what else to say about them. They're going to be done today, hopefully. Hopefully today. I like the patterning. I think they're fun, funky socks. And they're awesome. So that is my first whip. I still have quite a bit of yarn. And I will have quite a bit of yarn. This is what I had left of the first ball. Of the first half of the ball. But I always have lots of leftover, which is why I started the sock yarn blanket. So, hang on just 1 second while I grab those other things, and I will be right back. Okay. So, next project, is my Peony Socks, which I had hoped to get my second sock started. However, I was going to do that at Knitting Bowl, and when I went to start my second sock, my needle broke. So, and I didn't bring an extra, so I did not get to start my second sock. And last week, I did not put the Dicky-Doo in. And actually, let me get the Dicky-Doo from over here. But I was just right at this pink stripe. I think I had a couple more rows before I had to put the heel in. So I did that on Sunday. I did the heel on Sunday at Knitting Bowl. But really not much more than that, obviously. I think I've finished the round and am ready to go around again. So there's my Spinning Fates yarn. Love the color, obviously. Get that out of the way. It has the contrasting pink and then the self-striping, and then I put the contrasting pink for the heel as well. And I did place an order with Knit Picks the week before when my friend Michelle wanted to get a set of Knit Picks needles, and I now have a couple extra size zeros because I tend to knit a lot of my socks on zeros. So, and I did fix the one that broke last week. I think I was trying a couple different things before I tried the super glue, and I cut it. I cut the cable, so I don't know. I'm gonna see if it gives me like a little. It might be sticky at the end, where as far as might catch the yarn, but we'll see how it goes. If not, I have 3 other size zeros now, and plus I'll be finished with those other socks, the more basic socks that are also on size zeros. So I'll have that one too. Not that I need that many size zeros, but I knit a lot of socks on zeros, and occasionally I have 2 pairs on the needles at one time. So this one's coming along. This project is not on the high priority list for February because it's not a project that is going to be accounted for the Finish It Frog It February. However, I really love knitting this yarn, and I really love these socks, so I really want to finish them. But if I have any chance of getting some projects done, these really need to be on the back burner until I finish those other ones. Because March is going to be all about the March Madness and Knitting for Hire. Because I need to get those done so that when Knitopia comes around, I can knit on what I want and not have to feel like, oh, I need to get this Knitting for Hire done. Which is kind of what I like to do for Knitopia. I don't like to be working as far as stuff that has deadlines. So, there it is. There's my progress. Love the yarn. Love the colors. Yeah. You'll see what I got because of this yarn. So that's Peonies Please. The next thing that I worked on, which I'm very, very, very excited about. Do these colors look familiar? This is my modified Lady Eleanor that hasn't been seen for months. And it's growing quite a bit. Here's my Dicky-Doo. You see how much I've done? All of that this week. All of it. I think it's, let's see, how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rows. I figure based on prior to this point, I think there's 21 rows prior to this thing. And my color, my ball change is right here, which is really only a couple of squares. So I have 2 more balls to go. So if I plan on using most of my yarn, I need to do another probably 15 to 18 rows, because I think I do want to do the fringe at the end, and I have to have some yarn for that. But what I might do is figure out approximately how much fringe I need and take that off the second ball first, and then go from there as far as figuring out how many more rows, because I would like this to be as big as possible. Now the other option would be to put fringe on in a natural color, just one natural color, instead of this variegated, which it almost looks like more like stripes with these little short repeats. But I really like it. I want to get it done. It's going to be big, I'm hoping. It's already, when I stretch it out, once it's blocked, if I blocked it right now, it would probably be about 48 inches wide, maybe. So if I block this part would probably be almost, let's see, yeah, it would probably be about a yard up to the point. So 2 yards wide, that would be plenty. It's not going to quite be that, because obviously I can't knit 21 more rows because I'll run out of yarn. But it'll be close. That's an end I need to cut. Anyway, so yeah, 5 rows. Considering I haven't worked on it in a long, long time, I think that's pretty darn good. But I think I figured I have to do like almost a row a day in order to get it done by the end of February. And really, if this is the only finished object that I have for Finish It Frog at February, I'll be happy, because this has been on the needles since like May of 2010. That's just insane. I really, really, really want to get my Bacardi done, but I like that project. I like this project too, but I really like Bacardi, and I know that once I start on that again, I think I'll keep going. But yeah, I really want to get this off the needles. Not only to be able to wear it, but also because it's been on the needles forever. So there it is. It's my modified Lady Eleanor. It's not the actual pattern from Lady Eleanor. What I did, I think I have the book that Lady Eleanor is in. However, I don't think I knew that I had the book until after I had started this project. And what I did was I looked at some other interlock patterns, a washcloth pattern and a scarf pattern, and kind of made up my own pattern based on those. Plus, I think Lady Eleanor is in worsted weight, and this is heavy fingering, so I would have had to change it up anyway. So that's my progress on it. I am making very good progress on it. Again, I hope that I continue to make good progress on it. If I did 5 more rows this week, I would be ecstatic. because then I could do 5 more rows the next week, and I'd probably be just about done. So, still, this is the second ball. It's barely started squishing down, it seems. But it is the Hill Country Instant Gratification, which I'm pretty sure they don't sell anymore. I've tried to get more of this stuff, but I can't find it anywhere except for maybe D-Stash. So that will get worked on again this week. This is my project that I've been taking to work with me. And I have another, what do I want to call it? Working vacation. Work vacation. Because coming up, because my boss leaves to go to Florida on Wednesday. I think he'll be in the office on Wednesday, so that means Thursday and Friday he will be out of the office, and then Monday and Tuesday of the next week. So I'm hoping that I can get a lot of knitting done while he's gone. Usually when he's gone, I'm not that busy. Sometimes if we get storms and stuff like that, I do get busy, but I'm still really caught up on all my work because we've been slow. But typically what happens when he goes out of town, we get busy. I don't know why. I don't know how that works. Every time he goes out of town, we get busy, and then he comes back, and then it's dead. So we told him, keep going to Florida, because when you go to Florida, we get busy. He doesn't always listen, but he goes to Florida about every 3 weeks. Anyway, okay, so my next project is my next snuggle, which hasn't gotten too much work this week. But I think I mentioned last week that I wanted to start a snuggle that was like the log cabin blanket, which I did. I have one of the blocks, and the second one started. I pretty much figured out that based on the pattern and my gauge and the size that I wanted it to be, I think I'm just basically cutting everything in half. So if it says cast on however many stitches, I'm casting on half as many stitches. And then if it says knit so many ridges, I'm doing half that many ridges. I'm still following the same, I think it's the baby log cabin in the Mason-Dixon book. I'm still following the same general pattern as far as where to attach the blocks and all of that. But I'm just halving everything because my gauge is bigger than what they have. And I will probably work on this a little bit today and tomorrow because it does go quick. I did work on it last weekend and obviously only got one block done. I think I did it on Sunday. But I would like to get this done this week, but as long as I get it done by the end of the month so that it counts for the charity drive that Sadie at Yarnivore is doing, then I will be happy with that. And it's eating through my stash, which is awesome. I almost have an open area on that shelf. And then I'll have to rearrange because my sock yarn shelf, which is this shelf here, is crammed to the max. And if I put any more on that shelf, the shelf above it, which only just sits on the little knobs in there, pushes up. Not a good thing. So I need to kind of reorganize a little bit, and I might have to utilize that bottom shelf for some other yarn. The bottom shelf on both sides is more acrylic and charity knitting and baby knitting kind of yarn. Although I have a whole bag of Caron Simply Soft that I bought for the bears in my room, my little crafting nook over there, and I would love to be able to get that off of my counter because that takes up a lot of room. So maybe I'll squeeze that into that space so that I don't feel the need to buy more yarn, because really I'm still on my yarn diet even though I have fallen off the wagon twice. So that's my baby log cabin blanket that I'm using a couple different colors. I'm using the pink and the purple, which is here. I'm also using this turquoise. And these are all Mellow Spun from Mary Maxim that I had bought for baby items. And this one. So, there, I don't know how to show you the colors. There's the colors. So those are the 4 colors that I'm using. I'm not real thrilled with this one, but the other 2 colors that I have just don't go at all. This one looks like it halfway goes, so this is what I'm stuck with. And really, the little animals, they just want something comfy to snuggle in, so they don't care what color it is. So that's my snuggle. And my bag broke again. So my cord is somewhere in there and I have to fish it out. So those are all my whips. So let's talk about spinning. I don't have spinning on my show notes. I should. I am still spinning the, like I said, the Blue Moon Fiber Arts Polworth. This is all I have left. It's under an ounce. I've been spinning quite a bit the last few days. I would say this will be done by the end of the week, if I spend any time spinning at all this week, which I'm sure that I will. Because I've been going through 2 or 3 colors. When I sit down to it, I've been going through 2 or 3 colors a night, and sometimes a lot more than that. And I probably have, not that much. That's how much I have left. So I've been doing a lot of spinning, which is taken away from my knitting, but I love it. I still have my little card that I pull out to compare every once in a while. And I pretty much have decided that I'm going to go with the 3-ply. I really like how the 3-ply just balances itself out. Because with the 2-ply, if you happen to have 2 pieces that tend to be a little bit thinner, I found that sometimes they find their ways together, and then you have a really thin spot. Whereas a 3-ply somehow finds a way to balance it all out, and it seems to be more consistent. So I think I am going to go with a 3-ply on this one. I can always buy more and do a 2-ply if I really feel the need. Oh yeah, I was just checking because I was looking for the other Polworth that I bought from Blue Moon, and I forgot that I did put it away. So there's my card, which I like having this card for comparison. So that's my spinning. I did also spin this week a little sample. This is a sample that I spun up from Giggle Jelly. Oops. When she sent me some fiber, when she sent me an order, she sent me a sample and I spun it up because I wanted to see what it was going to look like. And this is what it looks like. And it's very cool. And it's one of her, it's not one of the jelly balls. It's just one of her fibers. This is actually blueberry. And I 2-plied it. And I found out that I am very inept when it comes to 2-plying from the outside and the inside of a ball. I can't seem to make it work. And I've tried it several times, and Beth from the Spinning Loft showed us how to do it again last weekend, and that's when I came home and I spun this, and I still had problems with it. So, pretty much, not going to be doing that again. I think I'm done with that. I've tried it, not doing it again. I would rather spin it off onto another bobbin, have half on one and half on the other, and then 2-ply it. Not a fan of the plying from the outside and the inside of the ball. Now, I have done it before, doing the Andean ply, where you put it on your hand and then you spin it off of that. That seems to work. But I can't, when you put it on the ball winder and then you put your thumb in it, and it doesn't work for me. Doesn't work. So this is just a sample, and again, it's a fingering weight, and I'll probably toss it in my sock yarn blanket bin for some fun in the future. Okay, so the mistakification. I was real excited to see so many people email me or PM me about my mistakification on my Stinky Pink mittens. Here they are again. This is mitten number 1, and this is mitten number 2. And almost everybody got the one, which was I was missing my second little star down at the bottom. Somehow, when I was doing the round, I just totally missed it. So, almost everybody got that one. And then the second one was, if you look at the back leg of the skunk on this one, there's a little bit more white than on this one. I don't know how my stitch count got off, but I wasn't going back to fix it. I figure I'm just going, it is what it is. And then the wonderful people looking for my mistakification pointed out that I made an error on the first mitten. And that was right here. I'm missing a black dot. Which again, none of those things are very noticeable, and when I'm wearing them, who's going to see them? Now, I have been wearing my mittens this week, and I love them. They are so warm. However, just like everybody's feet are different, I think everybody's hands are different as well. And having them on my hands like this, they fit great. When I start to drive and move my fingers around, my thumbs seem to be attached more on the inside of my hand, and what happens is my mitten starts to roll. See that? This probably doesn't bother most people, but I'm a little anal. So, this is what I'm thinking I will do on my mittens in the future that are made like this. Because I'm planning on making more of Valerie's mittens, and other mittens have the same what's the word? I want to say configuration, but that's not the word I want to say. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Construction. That's what it is. I need a coffee. And so other mittens have the same construction. So I think I'm going to do an afterthought thumb instead of doing the gusset and having my thumb on the outside. Like I said, when I'm wearing the mittens and I have my hands out like this, my thumbs out to the side, they stay on my hands nicely. But when I start to move my thumbs and my hands, they start to roll, and that drives me crazy. So I'm hoping that by doing an afterthought thumb, which I've done before on like the man, these are hot. I gotta take them off my hands. My hands are starting to sweat. Like I've done the afterthought thumb on the fetchings. They are fingerless mitts, but they seem to work well. So I think the next time I do a pair of Valerie's mittens, which will probably be in the next few months, I will be trying to figure out how I'm going to put in an afterthought thumb. And I think it would be very easy. And what I would probably do is, instead of working the gusset stitches, I would just work the main mitten up until I think I get to just a little bit below where I would pick up the stitches, like maybe about right here. And on the palm side, I would just put in some waste yarn on there. And again, like I said, if you want to try this, check out the fetchings on Knitty to figure out how to do that whole afterthought thumb. It's a very easy concept. But I love my mittens, and they are so warm. I want to hurry up and make my headband, because I think these would be very warm to be using when I run outside. Although I haven't been running outside because it is so cold. I've been running on the treadmill. And I don't need to use them when I'm running on the treadmill. So, the person who wins the drawing, what I did was, everybody PM'd me, okay? And then I really wasn't expecting to have this many people. There was 41 people who PM'd me on this. I was not expecting. I'm thinking, oh, I'll have a dozen people who PM me. You know, I'll just be able to go through and put their names down and choose somebody. No, there was 41 people, so I started a spreadsheet. And what I did was, as they came in, and I'm saying up because in my Ravelry message box, they always move down. So I started at the bottom, the very first person to contact me. I put their name at number 1, and then I worked my way up the list. And I did the drawing. And the person who wins, I didn't even decide what you were going to win. When I was doing the drawings earlier, I'm like, oh, I got to pick a prize. Okay, so the person who wins is going to win a pattern of $7 or less on Ravelry. A giftable pattern of $7 and less on Ravelry, because it's easy and I don't have to get up and go and find a prize. There you go. And that person is Sally from Idaho. She was number 40. So she just recently sent me a message, and she was number 40, which is really interesting because the March Madness, there was 39, and the winner was number 34. And Sally from Idaho was number 40, and there was 41 entries. So the random number generator was liking those higher numbers today. So Sally from Idaho, congratulations to you. And thank you all for playing. That was a lot of fun. I was very surprised at how many people contacted me about my mistakeification. So Sally, get in contact with me. Let me know which pattern you would like to receive, and I will gift you the pattern. Okay. I'm going to quickly run through my stash enhancement. I forgot what they were called for a minute. So, I told you I ordered more stuff from Giggle Jelly, and I showed you this yarn last week, or this fiber. And I should have brought over the sample because I could have taken the sample out of the bag, but I'm not taking this out of the bag because I don't want it to get it all messed up. This is probably what is going to be on my wheel next. This is from Giggle Jelly. It's her cherry colorway. It's 75% merino wool and 25% tussa silk. I did a special order of this to get 8 ounces, so I have 4 and 4, and I am planning on spinning it and 2-plying it. And this is probably, like I said, what's going to probably go on my sidekick. So it is, should I open it? I'm not going to open it. It's reds and purples. You can kind of see it through the bag, through the glare. And it's got a little bit of white. It's that white, the whitest. There you go. There's the white. I think that's probably the tussa silk. The red and the purple are probably the merino that got dyed in the tussa silk. that didn't get dyed is the white. So I'm very excited about starting that. I'm going to spin that up and then two-ply it. Yeah, I think I'm going to two-ply it and then make something for my mother. Probably a shawl, or maybe a shawl and some socks or something. Not quite sure. But it's the same fiber as this. This is the blueberry colorway, but it's the same concept. And then, yeah, I got more yarn. I got my Spinning Fates order. I got 3 new colorways from Spinning Fates. The first one is Blarney, I think. It's hard to read her writing. And it is on the base is 100% superwash merino. It's 400 yards of fingering weight, and it is greens and some blue and a little bit of yellow, and I love it. And the next one is on the it's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. It's 400 yards, and it's the Elementary Dr. Watson. And it is, I think it's a self-striping. It's brown, blue, and cream. And like I said, I think it's a self-striping yarn. I don't think this one is. I think this is just variegated. And then this one is on 75% superwash BFL. That's merino, yep. Superwash BFL and 25% nylon. This is 464 yards. And this is the Herman and Lily. And there's that. It's purple with kind of like a seafoam green, black, and cream. And I think this one too is also a self-striping. And these are all from Spinning Fates. And her website is etsy.com/shop/spinningfates. So more yarn that I don't really need, but had to have after knitting up some of that peony yarn. The other thing that I got this week, which is more for everybody else than it is for me, but I finally ordered some buttons. Some Knitting Blooms buttons, and it doesn't seem to be focusing. There we go. Some Knitting Blooms buttons. And I am planning on sending these with all the prizes that I send out and having them to hand out at events that I attend. I only ordered about 100, but I probably will order more before I go to, say, Rhinebeck or something like that. There are only 1.5 inches, which I thought was the perfect size. I thought about getting it slightly larger, but I thought 1.5 inches was a good size. So I'm excited about that. And that's all the enabling I have. Oh, I do have one more enabling. It's the Barmaids enabling. I also did the Barmaids drawing. There were 64 people who entered this week in this week's drawing for a Lolo bar. And actually, I think I had not changed all the information. I think part of it said travel pack and part of it said Lolo bar. So, the winner will get to choose if they want a Lolo bar or a travel pack, because I was a goof and screwed up. So I will let the winner choose whether they want a Lolo bar or a travel pack. And then next week we will do another drawing, or this week coming up will be, well, next week I'll do the drawing, but this week you'll enter for a another travel pack. But I did want to reiterate again that how much I love the Lolo bar. Love it. I actually thought my order would be here by now, but my body bar that I have been keeping in the bathroom that I use when I get out of the shower was getting down to wee little pieces, and I was trying to kind of make it last, and so I didn't use it for a couple of days, and I really noticed a difference in my skin. Not that you have to use it every day, but in this dry season, my skin just gets so incredibly dry. And I actually have on my right hand, I get some kind of, I don't know what it is, if it's just a really bad case of dry skin or eczema or psoriasis. I don't know what those things are, but I know that they're I think psoriasis is supposed to itch, but it doesn't itch. But on my right hand, and I don't think you can see it because I have been using my Lolo bar the last couple of days, but on my right hand I get a really bad dry spot on my palm. And I think it's from using my mouse all the time. Your hand rests on the mouse, and I'm always using the mouse all the time, and I think just over time it irritates my hand. But I can tell you that using the Lolo bar for a moisturizer on my hands makes a huge difference. I have tried so many lotions, and even when I put lotion on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, my hand would never clear up. And earlier this week, when I had not used my Lolo bar for probably 4 or 5 days, my hand, it starts to crack, and the skin starts to peel off, and the skin peels off in big chunks because I pick it, for one. And I said, you know what, this is crazy. So what I did was I took my Lolo to go bar from my knitting bag, and I put that in the big tin that I used in the bathroom for when I get out of the shower, because that bar was a little big. Literally, the pieces were like about this big, and they were very thin. So what I did was I took those little pieces and I put those in my Lolo to go bar tin, because if I'm knitting or something and I need something to moisten up my hands, those little pieces I can take and rub in my hands real quick, and they work great. However, trying to rub them all over your body and doesn't work so well. So I took my Lolo to go bar and put it in that tin. I think I ordered 2 more Lolo bars this week. I did order a couple of the sample packs just to try some different fragrances to see how I like those. I ordered some face pudding. Love that stuff. I've only had samples of the face pudding, but the times that I have used it to try it out, I really loved it, and I did buy some of that. I also bought some more of the Lolo lips so I can spread my my Lolo lips around, because I like to have like lip balm stuff stashed in different parts of the house, different drawers, so that if I find that I have dry lips, I can just go and put some on, and I don't have to go looking for it. So yeah. So let me tell you who won that drawing. Again, there were 64 people, and number 63 won. Again, like I said, that random number was like in the high numbers today, and number 63 was Yarn Chocolate. So congratulations, Yarn Chocolate. You get to choose if you want a Lolo bar or a to-go pack. It was or a travel pack. It was supposed to be a Lolo bar, but part of it said travel pack, so you can choose. Do you want a Lolo bar or do you want a travel pack? And so get in contact with me, and I will let you know how to get that. And again, I will post another thread for next week. It will be for a travel pack. And that's all I have. I did want to say one more thing about iTunes. Thank you for those of you who have gone to iTunes this week. and posted a star rating or a comment. I think we've got 4 or 5 new star ratings this week, as well as a couple of comments. So thank you very much for taking the time out to do that. It doesn't take a lot, but I know that sometimes you just forget. You know, it's easy to do. If I'm not watching in iTunes, I forget. And if somebody doesn't mention it at the end of their podcast, I forget. So I'm going to try and remember to mention it at the end of the podcast. So if you are watching in iTunes and you feel so inclined to go and leave a comment for this podcast or any other knitting podcast, please do so. And that's all I have. So I'm going to go and get snuggled back up on my couch and watch some movies and spin and knit all day and not go out in the cold weather. So I hope you guys are all staying warm, and I hope your knitting blooms this week. Bye.